Hello, welcome to the One I Have Spare Time podcast. My name is Frank, and I'll be sitting here talking to you for a few minutes. As usual, I'm wearing clothes. I'm wearing a shirt with Rose from Blackpink on the front. A Korean woman who's very hot because she's skinny. Anyway, um, I was watching. Okay, I'm lying, but let's just pretend I was watching TV. Anyway, I saw some protest or like a rally where these people were trying to get reparations. It was a bunch of black people um, trying to get reparations for slavery. You know that stuff that happened like 4 years ago that none of them were involved with. And I didn't listen to anything they said because I can only take so much cringe. But like the one thing all these people have in common is they just don't want to work. Like if you're gonna do reparations, you know where that money's gonna come from. It's gonna come from like my tax dollars or our tax dollars. It's like we need that money to send to Ukraine. I mean, if you think about it, they could have done reparations because like instead of sending like $200 billion to Ukraine, I guess they could have gave it to all the porch monkeys that don't want to work. Like I'm talking about like the black people who are afraid of a job application. You know, because those are the ones who want. But anyway, I'm trying not to be racist here. If you go back in history, every race has been a slave. So once again, I always talk about the slippery slope. So okay, so if you do reparations for these lazy coons, what's going to happen next? You're going to have to give the Irish reparations. You're going to have to give the Italians reparations. You're going to have to give the Chinese. You literally going to have to give everyone reparations because at one point in history, someone owned them. So we got to acknowledge what the real reason is that we have this reparations thing being pushed. It's just to make black people look stupid and black people look lazy and just out of touch with reality. Okay, so basically you're gonna get, because it's mostly like left wing leftist woke SJW leaning media. Okay, which is the kind of media you don't want to watch. The only media you should watch is independent stuff from a content creator you trust. But anyway, so you have like the media showing the protests and interviewing the lax. It's a combination of lazy and black lax about how like they were wrong 400 years ago. Blah 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 blah. No one gives a shit. And so now subconsciously, all the people watching were like, yeah, black people slaves, black people stupid, black people lazy. Like that's what it's really doing. Because like we're never gonna get, and when I say we, I mean them. I'm not talking about me, but just in general, we're never gonna have reparations for the slave mentality race, those blackity blacks. We're never gonna have that. Okay, we are not gonna waste money on that shit. Okay, but we're going to still push it because it's going to pollute the minds of everyone else watching them, and really like fortify the beliefs that black people are lesser, ignorant, just in general. Just there's so many like different thoughts that can happen. Like it enforces the victim mentality. Or people who don't like black people, like it enforces like the lazy, the people like me, it enforces the niggerisms. So these black people need to wake up and stop asking for free handouts. Okay, that's bottom line. Or if you really feel like you need reparations, you need to leave the country. Because like you're just things are bad enough. Like we already have people transing our kids. We don't need niggas begging for money, okay? For shit that happened whatever 400 years ago. And here's the thing, like the average American black who is an ancestor from from the uh, from the cotton pickers, you're mixed with white. All of you are. All of you are mixed with white. Every single um, slave chick was a sex slave too. And if you look at pictures of like slaves, like sometimes they'll have group pictures, like you did back in high school. You had the group picture day, and they take a picture of everyone in the class. Well, they would do that with slaves, and then like you'd see some younger slaves. They were like, "Well, he's white looking, like, or he's mixed." You're like, "Well, why do you think?" Because slave masters fucking all the chicks, and so like it keeps going generation after generation. So it's like all of you niggas are mixed. So it's like, are you gonna do if you have this percentage of white in you, you get less money for the reparations? Because if you think about it, if you're mixed with the white, you have slave owner in you. So like, why not break it down like that? Like, why not go full retard on this? If you're mixed, you get whatever this much, but if you only mix like 25%, I don't know, like you could like do some DNA tests and go like, you're this much percent, this much percent. Anyway, and let's just say if it did pass, I would totally reject it. I have enough white in me where if you took away the black, I would still exist. So I consider myself a straight white Christian male. So this doesn't even affect me, but I'm still going to talk about it because I think it's stupid, and we need to shame people who actually want money for shit that happened 400 years ago that they were not involved with. And, like, you weren't a slave, so we don't owe you anything. It's like it's bad enough my tax dollars, our tax dollars are being wasted on bullshit in other countries. We got like homeless people here, but we're busy giving migrants money in shelter. Like, it just makes no sense. But anyway, enough of my KKK propaganda. Listen, I'm trying to be on the right side of history, and the right side of history is the white side of history. Anyway, there is no segue. I was I was playing I was playing some first person shooter video games, and there's this game called Valorant and this game called Overwatch, and they both recently put out a new hero, and both of them are non-binary. I don't understand the pandering. I don't understand why a video game character's sexuality for a first-person shooter is important. And here's the thing, like, non-binary isn't real. There's men, there's women, and then there's a mental disorder. Men, women, the rest are mental disorders. Non-binary, and I'll tell you what non-binary is. Okay, so like in Overwatch, the character is called Ventru. He's non-binary because he's a guy, but they made him look feminine looking, but it's a guy. So just like in real life, a non-binary guy is usually just a feminine guy who can't like do 20 push-ups a day, has no father figure, doesn't know how to grow like 2 days scruff of beard to actually pass for like a guy. So it's like, well, since I can't be a guy, I'm not good at being a guy. I'll just be half a fag. Like, so like that's what a male non-binary person is. Okay, and then the Valorant one, it's this character named Jade. It's a girl, but because the girl has some characteristics that are more manly, like a flat chest, just not the best looking face. Once again, an ugly female. Look at the non-binary females. They're females who can't quite climb over that hill of being feminine. Like they're lacking something, and if you're flat chested, like there's plenty of. If you watch anime, there's plenty of flat chested waifus. Okay, just because you have a flat chest, that doesn't mean you can't. You know, like she's flat chested and has short hair. Okay, hey, grow your hair long. Like, there's so many things women can do and guys can do to actually like cross over and be your gender, like be well, you're born that way, but like actually look like it. Like guys hit the gym, do 20 push-ups a day. Women, grow your hair long. That's one thing. Grow your hair long, wear makeup, wear dresses, lose weight. Okay, so basically, Overwatch and Valorant are basically making fun of non-binary people because they made an ugly guy and an ugly girl and said non-binary, which is spot on. So I commend them with that. But if you think I'm going to be playing this video game and I'm going to refer to them by by their made up gender name of like they, hell no, no. I'm calling Ventrue he. I'm calling Jade she. Because if you're playing a first person shooter and you have to make call outs, you're not going to go, they are on the point. Because that's going to make everyone think there's more than one person on the point. And that would totally change the way we react. I can't talk. We react to the situation. So if you go, she's on the point, that's different. That's one person. Okay? Like, you can't do this like woke leftist bullshit in a first person shooter, especially when and then I read that like if you misgender the video game character, they'll like ban you from forums and like kick you out of games and shit. I'm like, dude, like I'm not worried about a fictional video game character's feelings. I mean, I'm not worried about a real life person's feelings. If someone I knew in real life was like, oh yeah, I'm non-binary, I'm like, oh, so you're making shit up, huh? And I would tell them I'm going to avoid you because I avoid crazy people, sir or ma'am, whatever, and I don't care if anything happens because once again, non-binary means no father figure, you're ugly, and you don't have the will, and you don't know how to put in the effort to build up your self-esteem, to look halfway decent, to actually look like the sexual the sex you are. If I for some reason was like non-binary, meaning I was like a sissy looking boy, like Jason. I know this guy named Jason. He might as well be non-binary. So like if I look like him, I'm like my dick's small, like I better shut up. It's just gonna turn into me making fun of Jason for 20 minutes. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, all these non-binary people are just weak-minded people. That's the whole point. And the fact that they made them ugly in these video games shows that the people who are behind it actually know what's up. So. And like anyone celebrating this, which is like two people on Twitter with like 30 stock accounts each, they don't even play the video game. So like you're pandering to people who don't even play the game, and then like the video game in other countries, the characters aren't going to be non-binary, and which shows you like you're just virtue signaling, you're just pandering. Like Overwatch in Arab countries, this like there is none of this gay bullshit in there. It's just a game, which how it should be in America too. But we can't escape current day messaging bullshit. But it is what it is. And I thought we had some good news because Lizzo said she was going to quit the music industry because she was we found out that she was fat shaming her dancers and she sexually assaulted a couple of them. So like normally that would get you canceled, but not when you're a industry plant like Lizzo. For those of you who don't know, Lizzo, is not going away, and the reason why she's not going away is because she's being pushed by some, I don't know, just some woke, modern day agenda where, they want this fat person to make other people fat, because that's what the whole thing is. Because like she's famous, so then like you see other fat people, they're like, oh, well then I can be a blimp too. And basically, I think Lizzo's real purposes is to one, make uh, make people associate black women with being fat and unattractive. Okay, because people say Lizzo's attractive, they don't mean that. Okay, if you're a heterosexual man, unless you're a chubby chaser, like unless that's your fetish, which is a very small proportion of the male population, very small proportion. Okay, you find Lizzo unattractive. Now, you might not say so in public or on the internets because you don't want to get in trouble, but you're now associating like other black women with that. So in a way, I think it's population control because people aren't going to want to mate black women. It's going to make people unconsciously, subconsciously, avoid them. Two, it's going to help the medical industry because there are dumb people who look up to Lizzo and want to be fat like Lizzo because she's fat and famous, and that'll help the medical industry because you're going to have like type 2 diabetes is going to go up. You're going to have like whatever, like blood pressure problems, just like cardiovascular problems are gonna skyrocket. You're gonna have anything involving your joints, like mobility issues. There's just gonna be a boost in like the medical industry. Also, like clothing. Fat clothes cost more than regular size clothes. I mean, like I know it's small, but it's like a small percentage is like can be millions to billions for like the company that's in that right genre. So if you're in the medical industry and like you specialize in type 2 diabetes medication, well, like if Lizzo makes just like 100,000 people get type 2 diabetes, that's like millions of dollars extra. So like that's what I think is really going on. She's a pawn, a tool of some leftists. I don't know who, but there's a group of people are behind Lizzo, and I know there's a lot of you can fit a lot of people behind Lizzo because she's fat, okay? But there is a group pushing her because she is, shaping the sheep of society in a way that is beneficial financially to this group of people. And I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but what I'm sure by now you've learned in the past 4 years, most conspiracy theories were true. So that's just how it is. And even though I said Lizzo's on a scale of 1 to 10, she's like a 2. Billie Eilish is still worse. I just don't like industry plants, and yeah, I've said my piece. Anyway, you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Peace out.